What's up, horror fam?
You know what time it is.
Today we got a special guest.
Let's get into this.
All right, guys. What's up, horror fam, and welcome to another edition of the Horror Chronicles podcast. I'm your host, Ryan, and with me, as always, my co-host, JT.
What's up, everybody?
All right, guys, and like I said, we have a special guest that I'm super amped about because I've been really trying to find someone to come on the show to talk about this, and finally found someone like, sweet. So we will let her introduce herself and go from there. So go ahead and introduce yourself, please.
Hi guys, my name is Ash. I help run the Provocative Witch on Facebook. We've been around for 4 or 5 years now. I myself have been practicing for about 20 some odd years, I think.
Oh, sweet. Wow.
And I'm more of an Eclectic Grey. I guess we'll get more into that later. But yeah, it's really awesome to be here, and I'm really interested in what you guys want to know.
Cool. Well, we're glad to have you.
Yeah, it's awesome because, I'm super into all that stuff.
He's just super.
I'm super. But, no, I love the macabre and the strange, the out of the norm, which is crazy to me because, I've done research on it too, but really this, paganism and some Wicca and stuff, that is the real norm until things changed, and then people throw their own spin on things. But so you said you've been practicing for like 20 years? A little over? That's awesome.
A little over.
That's awesome. So you mentioned that you've been practicing a certain type of Wicca. What was that?
Eclectic Grey. So what the eclectic part means is that you don't necessarily follow one type of magic or witchcraft. You sort of grab bits and pieces of stuff that you've learned along the way and grab what works for you. It's very personal, customized. You might not even find another person who sort of sees things the way you do, but that's okay. And the gray part, because a lot of people like to sort of group magic into black and white. Mm-hmm. It's either good or it's evil, and magic is inherently both. Mm-hmm. You can't have one without the other. Like witchcraft thrives on balance. Mm-hmm. So yeah, like in my opinion, a proper witch should be walking in between those two lines comfortably. You have to understand black magic to understand white magic, and vice versa. And a really big saying amongst witches is you can't heal if you can't curse.
Correct.
So how are you going to heal if you don't understand what's attacking the body or what is, magically happening? You can't fix it if you don't understand it.
Correct.
You don't have to practice it, but you need to
know it. Yeah, you need to know what's going on.
Yeah. You can't have darkness without the light.
Yes.
You can't have good without evil. You can't have peanut butter without jelly.
Well, you can, but you're missing out. No, and that's kind of like you're talking about balance. I know that the whole what was it? Is it that now I know a lot of people think that this is just from the movie The Craft, which I love. Mm-hmm. There has to be, you can't. Was it threefold? Is that what it is?
Some believe in it, some don't. Like it's again very personal to the person. A lot of, and it's really present in Wicca, which I'm gonna get some hate on for this, but I'm not a fan of.
Yeah. Okay.
But it's basically whatever you do comes back to you threefold. Whether it's good or bad, it'll come back to you. So that's why a lot of Wiccans don't believe in cursing or the darker side, because they don't want that to come back to them threefold.
Gotcha.
But how I sort of see magic and casting and all of that kind of stuff is, how to say it? Sorry, guys.
Oh, you're good.
You're fine.
Good. You're good. We have real conversations here. You take it.
Yeah.
That's just how it is.
Do no harm, but take no shit.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, don't intentionally go out there and ruin someone's fucking life. But if somebody's hurting you, do what you gotta do.
Right.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
You know?
Yeah, I mean, it's the same thing. That's basically the same thing I teach my kids, my sons. I tell them, if someone is hurting you, you have the right to hurt them back,
Absolutely.
You don't go out there picking on anybody, but you better finish it. If someone does something to you, you better get it done and over with,
Yeah, see, that was a big thing. When I was younger, I read a lot about Satanism and stuff, and I know it's totally different, but that was a big thing in Satanism was they actually, a line from the Satanic Bible was, if somebody smites you on your cheek, you should smite them back twice as hard.
Absolutely. Like, you don't sit back and let somebody walk all over you, know, like a lot of Wiccans will be really passive aggressive about it, where they're like, just send them, good energy and they'll become a better person. And I'm like, no.
Yeah.
Like,
survival of the fittest.
If you're going to hurt me or intentionally cause me harm, I'm going to send it back to you, and it's not going to be pretty.
Yeah. So just so kind of for the listeners and stuff like that, you mentioned Wicca, and I guess witchcraft. Would you call what you do more witchcraft, or what do you consider what you do?
Well, witchcraft is
that's a really
broad way of sort of encompassing everything.
Gotcha.
But paganism is more of the older stuff, like the stuff that when you think about witchcraft in like the Middle Ages and stuff like that, it was all paganism or some variation of paganism. Wicca wasn't really brought to light until about the 1950s by Gerald Gardner.
Yep.
I think 1954-ish is when he went public with it, and it started becoming more mainstream and like the first real recognized, witchcraft religion,
Yeah.
A lot of Wiccans like to think that theirs is the oldest, like, because it does stem from paganism, but Wicca itself, like I said, is really only 50, 60 years old as a practice.
Right.
And
and they like to say that it's older than that. And I'm like, no, but if you go and you can even Google it, it's the first thing that comes up. It was created in 1954 by Gerald Gardner.
Right.
Yeah. So basically Wicca is more of a
fluffy bunny form of magic.
Yeah. It's like the more politically correct form of magic.
That's a good way to explain it.
Which I can't stand. So, I'm with you on that. I would, I've never practiced it, but I just love the aspect of, Mother Nature, certain, and, we talk about it on this show quite often, how you can be in touch with Mother Nature. Like, I know for me, I can go outside, and especially during like October, it's my favorite time of the year, fall.
Me too.
The fall time, and feel that breeze when a good October breeze hits you in your face, and it's just, you feel something, there's more there to it. I've never delved further into it as far as actually practicing anything or trying anything. Now my wife, I know she has been getting into tarot card readings and things like that.
Oh, neat. Awesome.
And crystals and stuff like that. So she's really getting into that. She's never been that way before, but she's really been looking into that. So I can tell that it's helping her out just doing readings or, having them done or whatever.
I've been wanting to do that. Like sit down and have a tarot reading.
I'll have her come over and we'll do it.
Oh, dude,
so,
that'd be awesome.
Yeah, they're really fun. I've been doing those for a long time myself.
Nice.
I don't know how many years, but over a decade.
Yeah, wow. See, that's awesome. Wow. And, I never understood how people are they're so judgmental, or they're like, they just brush things off. And I'm just like, see, and even JT here, he's more of a science guy, but
I'm not Bill Nye.
Yeah. No, he's more he goes with science, but he also
I have a scientific mind. I try and look at the scientific side of everything, but then I also know that there's stuff there that science can't explain.
Well, yeah, science and magic are very much married. Like they go hand in hand. What we call science today was magic back then.
Yes, absolutely.
100%.
Absolutely. And talking about the Wicca, when, like Ryan said earlier, we did a big episode on witchcraft, and basically what we delved into was the origins of witchcraft, back in Norse mythology and the pagan Romans and all that stuff. But we never really talked much about Wicca. It was there.
Yeah.
We knew what it was, but we just didn't get into it. I honestly, until Ryan called me and told me you were going to be on the show tonight, I was like, man, I better look at some stuff. And I started looking into it, and I didn't realize that it was as young as it is.
Yeah, Wicca, yeah. Like like I said, it's only been around for 50, 60 years. And I mean, when you look at the whole like span of witchcraft, I guess we can call it as a general term. Like it's brand new.
Yeah.
Oh, 100%.
It's brand new.
Yeah.
And there's nothing wrong with that. Don't get me wrong. Like I've known plenty of Wiccans who are great people and whatever, but it's just, I find, especially with the online ones, they are very
judgmental. Yeah. 100%.
So is Wicca more like from the natural side of it? Is that?
It's a very traditionally based magic. Like, that's why I never really liked it. It's kind of strict and structured in how it's built.
Gotcha.
It's they took a lot of their roots from, I think, ceremonial magic, which is very like ritual based, strict, cut and dry. Like, it's very similar to like Christianity. You know what I mean? In terms of how or Catholicism, where you have like so many rituals and ways of doing things and steps that you have to go through, which is a pain in the ass. So that's why I never really liked it, I guess. It was too rigid and too structured for me.
Yeah, that's like with us with this podcast, there was like, well, have you guys monetized? And we're like, man, you know what? We like having real fucking conversations with people and not having someone tell us what the fuck we're going to do and what we're not going to do.
If somebody if somebody wants to pay us to throw an ad in here or there, sure, we'll do it, but we're not going to change who we are and how we do
Yeah.
We did. I'm with you. I hate the PC shit. I hate. I mean, and like I'm with you too with Wicca. You can do whatever.
You got hate in your heart.
Whatever makes you feel better, and makes you a better person. I don't think you need to be an asshole. Like, I'm an asshole all the time, but that's me. That's who I am. If you're not an asshole, then there ain't no reason for you to be, but I'm a nice one. I'm working on the claim that I'm the nicest asshole in the game.
Right.
So,
oh Lord, you see what I got to put up with here?
I just feel that you can do you. However, I'm also like you. It's survival of the fittest. I'm not passive aggressive.
Right.
I'm cool until it's time to get aggressive, and then I'm going to get real fucking aggressive with you. Yeah. Be cool till it's time not to be cool.
Pretty much. Like, I've got two goddaughters, my best friend's daughters, and their mom has asked me to start teaching them, which I have been. And my oldest goddaughter, she was getting severely bullied at school. Like, it was some bullshit. And my first reaction was to like bulldoze through a group of 12-year-olds, but like, I can't do that. So we decided to do a spell together, and we had to do this online because of COVID, and I couldn't see her and be there with her. So we Skyped through it, and I taught her how to do a freezer spell, which is like level 1 basic, pretty harmless shit,
Yeah.
Right.
And so we did it, and as far as I know, it worked, because I haven't heard of any other bullying going on with her, which is great. But yeah, I mean, like, that's a prime example. Like, if I was more Wiccan inspired, it would have been like, let's send love and light to them and hope for the best.
Right. Yeah.
Thoughts and prayers.
Yeah. Thoughts and prayers.
So let's talk more about your Eclectic Grey. Is that what it was? Okay. Let's talk more about that. I'm kind of interested. So, do you have I don't know. Do you have a group of women that you hang out and do these things, or?
All of my best witchy sisters live miles away from me, and I've never met them in person.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, all of them. We all run the Provocative Witch together, and they're, like I said, some of my closest people, and I've never laid eyes on them in person.
Yeah. That's what basically what he was asking is, do you have a coven?
Well, I guess like we don't call ourselves a coven. Like I very much consider myself fairly solitary.
Thanks for that, by the way.
But if we, I guess maybe like we've done shit together, we've cast together, like even though we're all very much apart.
Right.
And I was going to ask, that's actually a question I was going to ask, speaking of, because we also do we talk about horror movies on here. We talk about everything that's paranormal stuff, all that kind of stuff. So the coven thing, is that more prominent still, or that you know of? Is that I don't
know. Like, I think nowadays, maybe not as much as it used to be. I don't think, because, I don't know. It's hard to keep a coven together. It's really, really hard, because you've got anywhere from 7 to 13 people trying to make this thing work. And that's a lot of different opinions.
Yep.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So it's really hard to keep a coven together. Usually you'll only see it within families and people who are sort of raised
super
into
close.
it.
Yeah.
So, and that's an interesting thought. So, is your whole family into this?
No, it's just me.
Okay, and how did you get into it?
I've always been into the weird, even when I was a kid, ghosts, vampires, witches,
my people.
Bring it.
Yeah.
I think I never went as anything cute for Halloween. It was always something like Dracula, witch, whatever, a zombie, something, proper.
Yeah, something dark. Yeah.
And then, internet came along, and all of a sudden I had a whole bunch of information at my fingertips. The problem is me not knowing anything, and the internet, although useful, is also full of shit.
Correct.
Led me on, I'd say, about a 2 to 3 year adventure into shit that wasn't even real.
Yeah.
I spent a good couple of years researching spells to change my eye color, to change my hair color. All this stupid shit, you know what I mean? Stupid. And then I moved to Kingston and found my first witchy shop. And that's when I actually got the right information and the right books and actually started learning what the fuck was going on.
Right. Okay.
And I think I was about 15 then. I think I was 15.
Yeah.
And then it sort of took off from there.
Yeah, and I was the same way, and so was JT, really. I mean, I've always been into the, werewolves and vampires and zombies and everything. I've always been into, there's something else out there.
Yeah.
There's more to this than what is in front of you. So I got a question for you. It's kind of a question and an idea I had, like you just talked about the story with your goddaughter and how, you guys basically sent some bad juju that way and stuff happened. I'm wondering, because I always have this theory that I talk about, that.
Don't you dare have her son bad juju my way.
I want to test this out on JT. No. If you can manifest things, and I'm not talking about, you can manifest your destiny. No, I'm talking about mentally, you can make things happen. Our brains are way more powerful than we know.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, 95% of magic is power of intent.
And that's my point. So because I've know that I've mentally thought things on people, and I'm and then stuff ends up happening. I call it karma. I'm a huge believer in karma.
Me too.
it's very
that dirty bitch.
Yeah, she's a bitch and she's a mean one. I strong believes in karma. However, if somebody does something to me, you're going to get it back. I mean, that's just how it is. But I don't go out and instigate anything.
Oh God, no.
Because I've known it's happened before. Just like when I was younger, fighting and stuff. We used to fight all the time, and then it always seemed like whenever we were going around starting shit for no reason, we end up getting into some shit we didn't want to get into.
Yeah.
And so I'm a firm believer in that. But that's basically what I was going to say with witchcraft, whatever, that's what we're going to call it for the show. Basically, almost anyone could be a witch or practice witchcraft.
Yeah, there's no rules or regulations, no like prerequisite requirements to.
You just have to be mentally open up to it and let it do its thing. And that's how I believe, and I'm pretty sure JT does too, about everything else, like with the paranormal, with ghosts and spirits. The more open you are, the more open-minded you are, the better chance you have it seeing something or feeling something, which goes into the whole childhood thing of being a child. And everyone's like, oh, they see so much more, because they're so innocent, but they also believe everything.
Well, they haven't been beaten down by society yet. Exactly.
It's like my 4-year-old. So my 4-year-old, when he comes to me, he's like, Dad, is that real? And I'm like, do you think it's real? And he's like, yeah. I'm like, well, then it's real. So that's why I tell him. And then, because I'm still, even a kid, I'm a kid at heart. I just turned 35 yesterday, by the way. It was my birthday.
Oh, nice. Happy birthday.
But, I still feel like a kid because I still believe now certain things I know may be real, probably not, but whatever. But I still keep my mind open. And with things like this, with witchcraft and paganism, all that kind of stuff, I keep my mind open to that. And I'm not a judgmental person at all when it comes to that stuff. Because who am I to tell you or anyone else what the fuck they need to believe? Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So I just I want to let our listeners know and stuff that anyone could probably practice this. Like perfect example with my wife. She was never really into that stuff, but she just started getting into the card readings and like the crystals and stuff like that, and she really likes it. And now she really gets it. Now she can do her own readings and read for people and this and that. So I think it's pretty cool. It opens your mind up to a whole different. I don't even know how to put it. Just a whole nother atmosphere of what's going on out there. Oh God, don't start saying that.
Has she been bitch slapped by her deck yet?
I don't know. I haven't asked her. I'll ask her. Her.
Yeah, because that's something else when you're doing a reading for yourself and your deck literally slaps you in the face with the information you're looking for. Like it's, and not in a nice way. It's quite jarring.
That's cool. So, just for you, since you're our guest on here, with the Eclectic Grey that you're talking about, what are the things that you are into and that you've gathered together to form what you practice? Some of them.
Well, it took me 20 years to find my chosen deity, because a lot of witches will have certain gods or goddesses that they're very attracted to. Mine's Odin. I tend to lean more towards the Norse.
Nice.
Yes.
I just sort of like when I started learning about it and getting into it, it just really resonated with me. And I ended up picking up a Viking Oracle deck, which was stellar, and I love this thing. And it works really well for me. So yeah, it's been a lot more Norse related lately, I think.
Yeah.
I'm a big believer in karma, like you.
Yes.
That's why I don't fuck with her as much as humanly possible. And I just sit back and watch her do her thing when, she needs to. Yeah. Karma's great. I love it.
It's funny. I have a 4-year-old and I have a 7-year-old. My 7-year-old has the worst case of instant karma that I've ever seen in my life. Because, I tell him all the time, he'll be doing something, messing with his brother. I'm like, stop doing that. And he won't. And I'll walk up to him like I'm going to whoop his little butt. And he takes off running right into a wall. I'm like, what's that called, son? He's like, karma, as he's rubbing his head.
What is
he knows.
karma, son?
I told him, I was like, that's called karma, dude. You don't be doing that stuff because it's going to come back on you. So he's learning. He's learning that. But back to what you were talking about, so more with the Norris aspect of it. So is there any particular things that you do on a daily basis I know not so much
daily, you know what I mean? Like I'm definitely a lazy witch in that regards.
Yeah.
Like I very much believe in my craft. I practice it when I can, but it's not an everyday thing for me. Like I have a life, I have a job, I have a couple of stepkids, I have, you know what I mean? Like I've got shit to do.
Mm-hmm.
But usually like, like I'll usually talk to like Odin. That sounds so fucking crazy.
All good.
That's I guess my daily or maybe weekly connection to my craft is just sort of having a conversation with him about whatever,
Yeah.
And like
so basically with you use it when you need to.
Yeah, exactly. Like I don't sit and cast all the time. Like I might cast a spell 2 or 3 times a year, if that.
Yeah.
If that.
So it's more of a weapon in your arsenal of just life. And I think that's cool, better to have it, not need it, than need it, not have it,
Yeah.
Pretty much, like it's like I don't see the need to use magic or attempt to use magic for every little thing. Like I'm human. I can do things myself.
You can settle your own scores and stuff.
It's funny. It's funny you say that too, because like I often think about that whenever I have a lot of family who are super religious and stuff. I used to be religious when I was young. And then I
had a whole God stint too when I was younger.
And I grew out of that myself. No one's changed my mind on that. It was all personal. And I tell people, well, how come you don't believe it anymore? I'm like, it's my own personal thing. That's just how it is, But it's funny you say that, because you say like you're human and you can do it. You can do stuff on your own. Because like a lot of people I know that are super religious are always like, oh well, God had it in my favor to do this. God did this for me. Or something bad happens. Oh, it's the devil that did it. And I'm like, no, you ever think it's you?
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, I mean, we're the we manifest our own fucking reality.
Yep. I'm with you.
And if you always think that something bad's gonna happen, it's gonna happen.
Mm-hmm.
And it's what I tell a lot of my clients, you know what I mean? Because like usually when somebody's coming to me for a tarot reading, there's a fucking reason behind it, and something's not going right, and like I used to have this one girl, like when I was doing free readings, that used to come and like ask me for them a lot. And I was the same message over and over and over and over and over again. And she wasn't getting it. You know what I mean?
Paying attention to it. Yeah.
And like, I had to get like mean with her a little bit. Like, do you not understand why your readings have been the same? It's because you need to do these things and you're not fucking doing them.
Yeah.
So coming back to me in a couple of days going, okay, can you do the cards again? It's not going to fucking change, man.
Yeah.
She's
looking for the right answer instead of making it happen.
Exactly. It's people rely on God or whatever too much. You know what I mean? Like, oh, it's in God's hands. God will take care of it.
Yeah.
Sometimes you need to do
how about you take care of it?
Yeah.
It's funny you should say that. I got to throw this out there. It has nothing to do with this conversation. You know how I am. My wife and I are watching TV the other day, and we live in mid-Missouri, so we've got Branson pretty close to us. And, I say pretty close, but anyway. Close enough. And there's a commercial about come see Jesus live on stage. And my wife, without skipping a beat, is like, I don't think so. Jesus live on stage.
Yeah.
Come on.
Gotta love it. But yeah, I'm with you on that 100%. It's people, I try to tell, I say, take credit for what the hell you did,
Yeah, absolutely.
I got friends that have done shit and like, yeah, well, God just seen it favor. I'm like, no, you did that. You did the work. You got yourself in that fucking position. Take some fucking credit for what you're doing,
Yeah.
I think, and a lot of people are waiting for someone to save them. Like in the instance of, the lady that came to you for all the readings and things, they want someone to save them, or they're waiting for someone else to give them the answer. It's like, well, no, you're the fucking person that can change it.
Like, I gave you the answer and you're not doing it.
Yeah.
So,
Right.
You're in your own damn way.
So now, when it comes to tarot, is it in your mind? Is it you that controls the deck, or is it something else that controls the deck? Does that make sense to you?
I think a little of both.
So is it like channeling through you to the deck?
She's like the messenger.
Kind of. You know what I mean? Like with everybody, it's different. Like for me, like how they get the story or the info, it's different from person to person. Like for me, like my cards are almost like a crutch because it allows me to trust my intuition better instead of doubting it all the time. If I physically see it in front of me, I'm more capable of, relying on it. But I think because like when I do readings, I usually ask for help from my spirit guides and the person I'm reading for spirit guides. And I sort of allow them to come to me, and like, it's just like a feeling I get, when I should stop shuffling. And that's when I stop.
Okay.
And then I'll cut the cards and I'll do the reading. And like for me, when I do a reading, it's like, I don't like doing them in person, like face to face, because like the ones that I have done, like you've got the person at the edge of their seat, like you're supposed to have all the answers in the world, and it's daunting. Right. It's daunting, and sometimes it takes me a minute to put the story together. It's not like instant, oh, there's the cards, everything's perfectly clear, here we go. Like it can take me a good 20 minutes sometimes to sort out what the hell I see.
Yeah. I got
so I prefer to do them online and through email. Like I'll have somebody email me like a selfie, and that's what I use to sort of connect. And I'll do the reading from there. And I've got a pretty good success rate. I'm usually pretty bang on. And when I'm not, there's usually some sort of circumstance as to why.
Right.
Yeah.
Either they're not being honest with themselves, or it's just like some people I can't read. Like straight up, I cannot, no matter how many times I try, cannot read them.
Yeah. Yeah. So
that's interesting.
So when you're reading, I'm going to ask my wife this stuff too later on, but when you're reading, do you ever actually see things like premonition wise, or is it more of just reading cards?
Not in, I guess, like the traditional sense that everybody would think. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I said, for me, it's a story, and the story formulates in my head. Like I'm a writer, like I like to write stories. And so that's sort of how the information sort of comes to me. And then I'm able to take what the cards tell me, what I think they're telling me, and my intuition, and put it into their story, because that's what it is. It's their story. And the important thing to know with tarot readings, they're not written in stone. Like this is what's going to happen on the current path that you're on. At any point, you could do something that's going to change your path, and it's going to change the outcome.
100%.
But if you keep on this path, if you keep acting like this or doing this, it's going to produce this.
Yeah.
And sometimes that's good. And you're like, okay, good. I'm on the right track. I need to stay on the straight and narrow. And other times it's like, okay, I need to fucking stop, get the fuck off, and go over here maybe and see what's going on. Because obviously this is not working for me.
Yeah, I'm 100% with you on that, because it's like with anything. I'm a believer that I manifest my own destiny.
Yeah,
I don't really believe in fate.
I think fate for a certain point, but I mean, their free will is also a very big part of that.
It's like you said, that is your fate until you change what the hell you're doing, or you do something different. And it's just like with this podcast, I had people tell me before when I was like, I'm going to do this podcast, like, oh, you're crazy, this is only going to be this, blah, blah. And 2 years later, we're still doing this, and we're kicking ass, and we're doing things, and everything fell in line with doing this, And when we really we put our mind to it, it fucking works out great.
Yeah, it was really weird, some of the stuff that just fell into our lap as we started doing this, and it made us realize, with no tarot cards included, that maybe we are doing what we're supposed to be doing.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, if you're open to receiving signs from wherever you think they come from, I mean, they're there. They may not mean anything to anybody else, but if it's significant to you and it means something to you, then there's something to that.
Right.
Yeah.
You know?
Right.
And see, that's what's cool about the stuff that we do talk about on the podcast and the people we have conversations with, like you and some of the other people we talk to, you know, we're all connected, really.
Mm-hmm.
Just like the earth is a one big living organism. I got a feeling that everything is connected somehow. Some people decide to cut that feed off and they don't want to fucking believe in anything. And they just live their life every day. It's like, I just get up and I do this and I go to bed and blah, blah. I don't believe in a fucking thing. And for me, I'm like, that's so fucking boring. Yeah. Why would you not open up
to the possibilities
of things? You know, that's Absolutely. My thing. It's like, I don't understand how people can just be like, nope, that's not real. Nope. It's
that drives me bananas.
Yeah.
You know, bananas.
Yeah. Because
how can you believe in that? Well, until you have your own experience.
Yeah.
You know,
I've had people, and we talked about that before recently.
We talk about it all the time.
I've had people who've been like, oh, I don't believe in ghosts, or I don't believe in that shit. And then they come to me and, hey, man, I don't know what the fuck happened, but this happened to me.
I just saw the weirdest line.
Yeah, does that sound like something you were talking about? I'm like, that shit. Oh, you mean that shit that you were saying is bullshit?
Yeah.
A month ago, 2 months ago, now you got your own personal experience.
All of a sudden you feel like it's not bullshit anymore.
Yeah. You know?
Yeah.
So, and that's one of the cool things about doing this podcast is that we get to reach out and talk to people. And like tonight, you know, JT's like, well, what are we going to do? I'm like, I want to have a conversation with this person. I want to see what they're into. I'm interested in what they do. I want to find out, you know, like, just like we've been asking you questions. Oh, well, is there this or that? Do you do this? You know, that's all it is. It's just a conversation. Now some things we have to do a little bit of, you know, looking into, but luckily JT's smarter than me because
boy, we're in trouble.
But it's funny when we first started this podcast, it was like, we're just going to talk about horror movies and then we'll ghost stories and haunted houses. And then
next thing we know, we're interviewing people that have seen Bigfoot and
all kinds of stuff,
you know, and we've got an author friend of ours that's really big into cryptids. He's been trying to get us to come down to Springfield and, you know, go out with him. And and what's really cool about him is he's a cop. You know, so I mean, he can get us in just about anywhere we want to go.
Yeah,
you know?
and it's just cool because, you know, we get to meet people like them.
He's a super cool guy, too.
We get to meet people like you, you know, and people. Not only that, but then other people who listen to us get to hear you talk and like, oh, well, if she's into witchcraft or whatever, she doesn't seem like a bad person. Like,
no.
If she seems
that just reminds me. I have a story for you.
Oh, perfect. We love stories.
Story time. Okay. So when I was about 18 or so, I was working as a cashier at a grocery store. And I had like this necklace that was a pentacle. So anyway, like more often than like, usually nobody paid attention. Nobody commented. But this one time, this guy came over and he's putting stuff on the belt. And then he just looks at me and he stops. And I'm like, what the fuck's wrong with this guy? You know, so I'm like scanning things through, just sort of like giving him the side eye, you know. And he comes up, he finishes putting the stuff on the belt and he stands in front of me and I'm still scanning. Like, I don't even want to talk to this guy because like he's freaked out about something, you know. He's got the crazy. So I finish up and he looks at me and I shit you not. He's like, do you eat babies? I'm like, what? Do you eat babies? And I'm like, hindsight's 2020. If I had my time back, I would have replied just their toes. Yeah. But I was like, no. What?
Yeah, what are you talking about? Yeah.
Do I eat babies? No. And
I'd have been like, well, I haven't necklace. This week, but it is only Wednesday.
Yeah. You know, he points at my necklace and I'm like, I don't eat babies.
Yeah. That's funny because like there's a lady, I work for a delivery company and stuff, so I'm all over the place delivering shit. And there's a lady, and she's younger. She's probably early 20s, if 19 maybe. But she wears a pentagram necklace all the time. And one day I asked her, and she's one of our followers now. She's one of our listeners now and part of our horror fam. And, but I asked her one day, I was like, I was getting something. I'm like, so what's up with the necklace with you? What did you practice? Is it paganism? Is it Wicca? Is it witchcraft? What's going on? She's like, I'm like, I'm not judging you. I was like, I have a podcast. I talk about this stuff all the time. I'm interested in it. Well, what is it? Because she thought I was going to be like going off on her or something. And I'm like, no. I'm interested. So, what's that? And she told me, she's like, well, it's really just a way of life. I don't really consider myself a Wicca or witch or anything. I just kind of like what you do. You kind of bring your own stuff together. Yeah. But she's really shy. I felt bad at first because she was like, I'm like, calm down. It's all cool. I'm not trying to be weird. I'm serious. But now she follows. She's probably going to hear this. I guarantee you she's going to listen to this episode. So shout out to you.
Yeah, it's pretty funny. You talk about your story at the grocery store. And my wife knows this too. If I happen to be at the grocery store sometime and walk up and the cashier's got a pentagram necklace on or something, next thing I know, I'm going to be knee deep into a 2-hour conversation, and my wife's going to be in the car waiting for it. Because I have so much interest in it. I don't judge people for anything. Yeah. I mean, Lord knows I've done some things I probably shouldn't have done when I was younger. What am I saying? I did shit I shouldn't have done last week. But yeah, I mean, we just very interested in it. Yeah. Now, I know we've talked a lot about tarot cards and stuff. What about spells? Mm-hmm. Now, you had mentioned spells earlier.
Yes.
So what do you do when you're doing a spell? Like, I'm just going to throw this out there. Have you ever done a love spell on anybody?
I'm so glad you brought this up. Okay. So love spells are bullshit because the one thing we're all born with is free will. So to cast a spell on somebody to make them love you is breaking their free will. Can you do it? If you're good enough, yeah. But I can tell you right now, it's going to be a very bad breakup, and it's going to be toxic because you're fucking with shit you shouldn't be fucking with. Like, if you want to cast a love spell,
and there was no spell involved.
Like if you want to cast a love spell, what I always tell people, I'm like, don't cast for a person, cast for traits. What are you looking for?
Yeah.
I'm not talking physically. I'm like, as a person, personality, morals, what are you looking for? And use that instead of, I'm going to target this one specific person and I'm going to make them love me forever.
Yeah. It was kind of like we talked about, you can make that happen anyway. If you really, just me and my wife, just so you know,
some of us aren't built for that.
We've been together for 20 years.
Nice.
And I just turned 35. So over most of my life, we've been together. So, but it's always been that way, but that kind of gets into, we talked about this the other day. Have you ever heard the Akashic records?
Yes.
Yeah. So we kind of got into a little bit of that, with,
we actually have been talking about trying to do an episode on that.
Yeah. So we're going to be getting into the Akashic records a little bit, it's kind of cool. And knowing that there's, according to that, there's multiple lifetimes and you can pull people from a different lifetime that you're, meant to be.
Your soul tribe.
Your soul tribe. Yeah. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So, I think that's pretty cool. It's like me and JT, when we first met, it was almost like an instant fucking connection.
Yeah. Your souls recognize each other before you do.
Yeah.
It's like, it's sappy, but I mean, that's how I felt about my current partner. Like when we first met, like we've been together, it'll be 6 years this year. And so like the second I laid eyes on him, I'm like, holy shit, there he is.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and like I said, with me and my wife, like,
that was not how it was with Ryan and I.
He laid his eyes on me and he's like, holy shit, look at that.
God damn, look at the ass on that.
I ain't got no ass, whatever.
But I hate to see you leave, but I like to watch you walk away.
But it's like with me and my wife, it was fucking automatic.
Yeah.
And we were drawn to each other. We were friends. I mean, we've been together for 20 years, but we've been like almost my whole life.
See, that's not soulmates. That's considered twin flames.
It's crazy.
That's cool.
And we're still very, very, very much in love today. And everybody's like, how the hell can you be with the same person for 20 years, dude? And I'm like,
the right person.
Yeah, it's the right fucking person. What are you talking about? It's very, very easy if it's meant to be.
Yeah.
But that just gets to like we were talking about with the Akashic records and shit, being able to go in there and see and get information.
Mm-hmm.
I'm very much getting into all this. I'm just, as you can tell, I'm a fucking newborn in it, but I'm very much getting into
past life regression is always interesting. It's hard to do, but interesting if you can.
Yeah. So, I mean, well, with that, as far as what you do, have you ever used anything that 100% worked that you personally
like spell wise?
Yeah, spell wise.
Yeah. I'm pretty handy at protection spells, which is always good, and turns out I'm also pretty handy with a heavy curse or two that I've seen the outcome of. The last
I'm pretty heavy with the curses too.
He's just pretty heavy.
But I don't know. The last one I did, I learned a thing or two about being more specific, because my outcome was achieved, but not the way I wanted it. And I felt really bad about how it did come about.
Yeah.
But like I don't delve into that very often unless I absolutely have to. It kind of freaks me out.
Yeah.
To be honest with you.
I can see that.
Like I understand it, which is why it freaks me out.
Yeah.
And it's why I don't go there often.
Yeah. Magic has always kind of freaked me out too. And I'm not talking like, David Copperfield magic.
Yeah.
It just that, where's it come from? How is it happening? Well, that's the big question.
Like I said, 95% of it is power of intent, but there is that also 5% that, what's that? Where does that come from? And I think it's sort of like you're asking permission to whoever's listening, like deity wise or God or goddess or whatever you follow. And they sort of got to approve the request, like you can have all the intention you want, but if for whatever reason the powers that be decide not today, kiddo, no matter how many times you do it, it's not gonna.
I've noticed that for me, it's like I always I put out good karma, I put out good vibes. I always unless someone forces me to do other, because I'm very capable of being fucking pretty aggressive person. But I work on that pretty hard, which in my mind makes me think of my mind. Our brains are very powerful. We can do a lot of things with our brain if we put our mind to it, and I think that's that's one thing that I like about witchcraft and magic or something like that, whatever you want to call it. You're using your mind more than anything. And, I got a really strong feeling that with, your pineal gland, the third eye, all that kind of stuff, there's something there, because I find it that I always have what I need, and I'm always good. I don't have a shit ton of money, but I'm comfortable. I'm always good. And I always end up having what I need when I need it. And that's fine with me. I don't have to have everything. I like being happy. I like putting out good vibes, and I like, just having a good time. But I find that, the mind is a very powerful thing, and you can do so much with it. And that's what's cool about witchcraft and things like that, is that it makes you delve deeper into your mind and using what you have, which is
it's
cool.
Just being more aware of not only what you're capable of, but like what is actually out there, and like the energy that's around you that you can use to your benefit. Like everything's energy. We all have auras, plants, animals, trees, rocks. We all emit energy, and it's spells are sort of the ability to manipulate that energy to the way that you want it, and sending that out. Like, have you ever seen Donnie Darko?
Yes.
Yep.
Okay, you know, it's like tunnel vision.
I was probably
like when
on
he's
acid
walking
when I
through the
watched
house. You know,
Yeah.
It's kind of like that. It's like finding the correct, you know, funnel of energy and tapping into that, and you know, getting your shit through.
Yeah. That's awesome.
You know, before we started doing the show, you know, years ago, and I started really looking into some of this stuff, I honestly, you know, I thought, oh, witches, okay, they're out in the woods dancing naked under the moonlight.
We do that too sometimes.
I want to do that. I want to do that.
You know, it's called skyclad, you know.
It's,
cool. Being naked under the full moon. Like, it's usually some sort of full moon ritual.
Right.
Yeah, you go skyclad and you get all naked and just run around. It's great.
Nice.
Sounds like a fucking Saturday night at my house. Okay, I remember next Saturday about running and going, skyclad!
That was pretty sweet. We just had a full moon yesterday. Day before yesterday.
Yeah. That's awesome. Yeah, you know, we're coming up to about an hour now. Yeah. We usually try to keep these an hour, but you know, I gotta ask you though, since we are a horror, you know, group or whatever,
we're gonna ask you the questions.
Yeah, well,
all right.
Are you? Do you like horror movies and stuff like that? Are you into that?
I do. I'm very specific though. Like, I'm more into the paranormal horror. You know. Because, like, I know that shit, a lot of that shit is real, so it actually gives me, like, savage anxiety. It makes me feel something. Gives you the creeps a bit
more, yeah.
So what?
Yeah, you know,
what would be your favorite? What would be your favorite that you could think of?
Oh God, The Exorcism of Emily Rose.
Oh, sweet,
great one. That's a great.
Like when she's like all on the floor, like all fucking
looking
broken,
up at
staring at, like, oh my God.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Like,
that's
that
a fucking great
nightmares.
film.
Oh, it is.
That's
absolutely,
a great film.
Absolutely.
Yeah, they did that one well.
You answered the second question already, and that was, do you believe in ghosts?
Absolutely. I lived with one when I was 13.
Wow.
Yeah, he was like, it wasn't harmful or whatever. Like, he was pretty mischievous more than anything. But my first like real encounter with him was I was putting a CD in my CD player, and I put the case on the bed, and I heard it fell to the floor. So I was like, okay, whatever, I'll finish what I'm doing, I'll pick it up. So I go to pick it up, it's not there. And I'm like, well, I must have kicked it under the bed, I check everywhere, I can't fucking find this case. Anywhere, but I heard it fall to the ground. Like, I fucking heard it. So I sit on my bed and I'm looking around, and where do I see this fucking case? In the middle of a stack of other CDs. And what I heard was the fucking CDs being picked up and put back down.
Sweet.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, both
cool.
of us are firm believers in that shit, you know.
Yeah.
So it's
absolutely.
It's like I said, it just makes me know there's something else out there.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a dimensions person. I believe in multiple dimensions. I think
absolutely.
That once you pass through here, you go to a different dimension, and how you are in this dimension will affect what dimension you go to next. You know, that's the way I look at it. So I got to ask you then, what do you think about The Craft, the original one?
The original, I haven't seen the remake. I love the original.
I love it.
Like,
I think it's
a great movie.
It is a wonderful movie. It is not what magic is in the slightest.
Right.
Yeah.
If it was, like, if magic could be that'd be fucking stellar, but it's not. But it's still a really great movie. But another one of my big favorites for like witchy movies is probably Practical Magic. It's probably the only movie that came anywhere close to portraying actual witchcraft.
Yeah, my wife loves
that is a
movie.
Great film. Great film.
My wife loves that movie. But yeah, I had to ask about it, you know. I've seen very little of the remake they did.
I'm afraid to watch it because
because I'm telling you right off the bat, it's like it's so PC fucking
it's
nowadays shit.
It's okay. I mean,
no, it's not.
No, it's really not.
Don't lie to her. How dare you?
Really, you know, I don't hate that I watched it, but it wasn't a great movie.
I only watched like 15 minutes of it, and even my wife was like, "Okay, I can't no more."
I forced myself to.
Yeah, it's gonna ruin it. That's why I
forced myself on her.
It's nothing compared to the original.
No,
nothing. It's light years fucking difference between the two of those.
Yeah,
the first one is just like a cult classic. You know, I think it's a highly underrated movie. like you said, it may not be, what witchcraft is, but it's
still pretty fucking awesome,
Yeah, it's just a great film, and there's a lot of movies like that. But I had to ask that before we got off here. I'm like, I gotta ask her the question. But
I just watched The Love Witch the other night.
The Love? Is that a porn?
No, it's an actual horror movie.
I think I've seen that movie.
It's a horror movie that's kind of like, it's weird. It was filmed in modern times, but they made it look like it was filmed in the 60s.
Oh, sweet.
So it's all love and
drugs.
It was. Oh yeah, there were some drugs involved. Yeah, on my part too.
But
no.
So hopefully it wasn't too bad for you.
No, man, it was awesome.
No. Because I'm gonna tell you,
I want to know something else.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
Ouija boards.
Yes.
Do you use one?
I used one once.
Okay.
And I got a response. It freaked me out. I ran away.
Okay. That's.
They're really great divination tools if you know how to use them.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, for me, it's when I just felt that pull that wasn't me.
Mm-hmm.
It was a little much.
Yeah.
So I was like, I'm done now. Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah,
I understand. I used one quite a bit when I was younger. Now my wife refuses to let me have one. I had one when we got married and she made me get rid of it. So me being the person that I am and into all this weird stuff, I'm like, well, I can't just throw this thing away. You can't just throw it away. So I gifted it to my buddy.
Nice.
And he's been trying to give it back to me for 20 years now.
But no, I think you did awesome. Just so you know.
It was cool.
It's very easy. I'm gonna tell you, we may be getting back a hold of you sometime.
Yeah, definitely.
Things
so how can people get a hold of you if they want to get a reading done?
Through Provocative Witch, we have an email and a direct message option. So either way, probably be the easiest.
Okay.
So you guys can find them at Provocative Witch on Facebook.
Yeah.
Or Facebook page. And everything should be there.
And then do we know what the email is?
It'll be on there. It should be.
Okay.
We're looking
I think it's the Provocative Witch at gmail.com.
Yep. See it right there.
Yeah. The Provocative Witch at gmail.com, guys. If you want to get a hold of Ash and get a reading possibly.
Yep. Or, anything like that. I had a great time talking to you. Really did. It was fun.
Absolutely.
Me too, guys.
This is how our show usually goes. Usually we get a little bit more.
We usually get a little more out of hand.
Yeah. But, but I wanted you to be comfortable, the first time coming on here. So next time might be a little crazy.
Yeah, that's okay.
No.
Okay with that.
No, but it was fun. We may be getting back in touch with you about some things.
Definitely. If you ever want to come back on the show and just tell some stories, whatever you want to do, just get a hold of us.
Yeah, man. For sure.
We are easy.
This is what we like to do, build bridges between everybody, you know. So
definitely.
It was great having you on.
We'll try and push some of our fans your way. And
like we said, guys.
Just send me the link and I can get it posted up on our page.
Absolutely.
Awesome.
This will go out. I don't have a calendar handy.
Thursday.
Thursday. It'll go out Thursday.
Cool.
So I'll edit down the video and do some audio magic on it, and it'll
awesome.
Sound awesome. Audio magic on there. But yeah, guys, once again, before we get out here, the Provocative Witch at gmail.com.
You can find them on Facebook at The Provocative Witch.
Yep, very easy to find, guys.
Looks like they've got a website too, provocative-witch.com.
Yeah, it's under construction. There's not a whole lot on there.
Okay.
Yet.
Awesome.
But still.
It was great having you on, and I hope you had a good time. I hope it wasn't too bad for you.
No, man, it was awesome.
Awesome. We will be getting in touch with you sometime, all right?
All right, Ash.
All right. Sounds good, guys.
Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Bye.
See ya. All right, guys.
That was awesome. Fun.
That was cool, man. Ash was very nice to come on the show and talk to us. And
the great conversation.
Yeah, definitely.
Cool stuff. So, guys, that was the show. We hope you guys enjoyed it. Go check them out. Give them some love, some likes, and some follows.
Yeah.
You guys know where to find us at because you're listening to us now.
Yeah.
So, guys, we love you. Thanks for the support as always, horror fam. But more importantly, as always, until next time.
Keep it creepy.